So there's no reason why we have to come into Balasana, into child's pose. But if you're happy to, then you can take the pose. I quite like to take an extended child's pose here, just because it allows my hips to rest a little bit more and I can sink my body in between my thighs, and you can rest a bit here. So wherever you are, just take a few breaths, close your eyes and settle in. And I'm just going to read you another little poem, little reading by Dana Falls, which I think I've read before, but I really love this and I think it's a really nice one for a chilled session. And it's called Just for Now. So just for now, without asking how, let yourself sink into stillness. Just for now, lay down the weight you so patiently bear upon your shoulders. Feel the earth receive you and the infinite expanse of the sky grow even wider as your awareness reaches up to meet it. Just for now, allow a wave of breath to enliven your experience. Breathe out whatever blocks you from the truth. Just for now, be boundless, free, with awakened energy tingling in your hands and feet. Drink in the possibility of being who and what you really are. So fully alive that the world looks different, newly born and vibrant. Just for now. Staying where you are, just for a couple more breaths here. Really allowing your hips to sink backwards if you're in a child's pose. So with each exhale, they're softening. And with each inhale, taking that space into the back of the body. And the same if you're seated. Just feel your root grounding down and that upward lift through your spine. Take another breath here. And then slowly coming up to all fours. Or if you are seated, you can remain seated, Denise. We're just going to circle the hips here. So you can do this seated, you can take the motion forward and to the side, and then back the other way. So feel free to just move what works for you. So this is nice on the knees. It also works in a seated pose. Then return it. Take it the other way. Reverse. Slow it down. Moving with breath. And then from here, just coming back to that extended child's pose. Okay, or that seated position. And then we're just going to come into a stretch on the left-hand side. So reaching the hands out towards the left. And then I want you to cross the right hand over on top of the left hand and then drop the head down. If you're in a seated position, you can take a gentle twist towards the left side. Or you can fold over the left knee and just stretch a little bit further out towards the left side. So really stretching into the right side of the body. Breathing deep. Sending those hips away from the arms. Allowing the stillness of these poses to really benefit the body. This is where the body starts to soften when we hold a little bit longer. Using the breath to invite that softness in. Slowly coming back through center, we're just going to go to the other side. Taking that stretch. Breathing deep, resting that head down. If you're in this extended child's pose, try and release any tension. There will be places that we naturally hold. So can we soften here? Taking another breath. Slowly walking the hands back through center. And if you're over in a seated position, maybe coming round onto all fours briefly, we're just going to lower ourselves all the way down onto our tummies. Just allowing yourself to just have a bit of space here. You can separate the feet. So you're on the top of the feet, maybe the feet come as wide as your yoga mat. Lower the forehead down to the mat. Hands can be just gently by the shoulders, elbows tucked in. So we're creating this full length through the spine. Notice when you completely relax through the front of the body, you almost start to get this arch in the lower back, which is fine, but I would just have a little bit of awareness through the front of the body here, just looking after that lower back. You can practice here by just letting the legs go, allowing everything to soften. See how that feels in the back. And then just switch the thighs on just a little bit without really squeezing everything together. Navel draws back just slightly. Just see if you can feel that containment in the lower back. On an inhale, keeping the chin tucked in, just slowly lifting the head, the shoulders off the floor, the gaze down towards the mat. Top of the feet in your mat or pressing down into your mat. Exhale, gently folding back down. We're just going to do 2 more of those with the breath. So inhale, rolling up gently, not coming very high at all. You can even lift the hands here and it will show that you're really using your back muscles in a really kind, mindful way. Releasing on the out breath. Last time. Lovely. From here, slowly pushing yourself back up onto your knees. Pad out the knees if you need to here. And I'm going to keep my knees wider with my big toes. They can touch or they can be slightly apart here. We're going to come into thread the needle. So from here, allow yourself to have some space between the hands so they're not necessarily underneath the shoulders. I've walked my left hand out a little bit. Inhale, take the right arm up. When you do this, you can sink the hips back slightly just to get a bit more space, a bit of a stretch into the lower back. Pad out those knees if you need a little bit more here. So we're not coming up to standing at all this evening, so feel free if you want an extra blanket on your mat, then do. And then on an exhale, slowly thread that right arm all the way under the left, really reaching with that hand, bringing the head down to the floor. And then you can decide what you do with this left hand. So the knees are on the floor, the hips are high. Your left hand could reach over the top of your head and tent those fingertips, or tent the palm so you're on the fingertips here. And that left arm can be a bit more active. Or you can simply have that left elbow bent and be here in a more restorative pose, or rest it on your lower back. Your choice. You can even wrap that left hand around and open up through your shoulder. So find your position, what works for you, and then settle into the breath. We are going to take 5 breaths here. Deep, conscious breathing. Keeping those hips level. Take another breath wherever you are here. No rush. From where that left hand is, just gently bring it back in front of the face, just so you can use that left hand to push you up. And then bring the right hand down to the floor, left hand down. Just take a moment here just to notice. You can do some circles with the body. You can even start to sort of do these gentle rib rolls here, moving the spine. And then come back to this neutral position, going over to the other side. So again, just find some softness here. We need a little bit of activation, but we don't want to be causing any stress in the arms and the shoulders. And then inhale, start to take that left arm up. Imagine it's just a wing gently opening up, holding here. Maybe lean back slightly with the hips. Take a breath. Get some movement in the neck. And then we're going to thread this arm through. So take your time. The transitions are really important too. So as we start to exhale, start to thread that left arm through the gap. Bringing left ear to the ground. And then again, just arrive here if you need to adjust and you want to take that shoulder a bit further in or out. Then do, and then decide what you're doing with this right hand. Breathing deep. So really breathing into that space on the right side, into the right ribs. Few more breaths here. On your next inhale, gently using that right hand to push you back up, coming back to this all fours position. And we are going to come into our pigeon pose. So before we do, if you've got some cushions, then maybe bring a couple of cushions down to the ground. So I will just show you briefly. So if pigeon pose isn't comfortable, then you can do this lying on your back by threading the leg like I just showed you a moment ago. From here, I find it easier to lift up my knees first and then bring the leg in, but you can do it from kneeling, but I find there's not always enough space, and then you're trying to sort of adjust, and so it's entirely up to you. But we're going to do left knee in first. So bringing the left knee towards that left hand. This left foot can be in towards the body, so don't feel like you have to really open it out. And then I like to walk my other leg back slightly, so then it allows my hips to come back. You can use the cushions to prop you up. So Make it a bit more restorative. Oh, if I can reach. So you can bring some more pillows underneath this left hip. You can then, I'll grab my blanket here, you can then bring a blanket to the floor to almost snuggle down, and maybe you can rest here. Okay. If you don't come all the way down onto the forearms, that's fine. You can be up here, and you can just gently drop the head in the space. Wherever you are, that left foot, just have a little bit of awareness through it, flexing through the toes. Maybe you can bring the forearms down to the floor, the elbows, and rest here. And we're going to breathe. We're going to really feel this length in the back of the body. And then noticing how this feels in the hips. So there's a lot going on, but this is definitely focusing on these hips. Allowing the body to soften here. So if you haven't already, close your eyes. When we start to prop up this pose a little bit with cushions and things and really try and relax into it a bit more, we start to call it a sleeping pigeon. And so allow your body to start to rest here. Just like in the reading at the start of the class, just for now, lean in, feel this stillness in the body. Sometimes there'll come a point where you think, whoa, this is tough, I can really feel this. And if it's really painful, come out of it and go to lie on your back. But if you can just feel that stretch and you think, okay, I can feel this, send that breath to that area. The breath is so powerful and it's free. It's there for us to use to benefit ourselves. One more breath here. And then on your next inhale, just gently start to walk your hands back towards the body. If you've got cushions, then remove those for a moment. And again, you can curl the toes under of the back leg if you want to help lift it back, and then bring the knees back down. Your choice. I quite often like to send my left leg behind me, and if you're lying on your back, you can send it out long just to stretch out that left leg, the one that's been bent. So just on my toes here, rocking gently front and back. And then we're going to go on to the other side. So bring in that left knee back now. Curl the toes under, hover the knees just a little bit for you to bring that right knee in towards the wrist, and then walk that left leg back. And again, bring those cushions, propping up this left hip. If you've got a yoga block, you can always use a yoga block under that, the right hip. And then again, just start to come into this position. Find the pose that works for you. Find that connection with the body. So adjust if you need to. Maybe walk that foot out a little bit. Maybe it needs to come closer into the body. Just decide. You can rock the hips from side to side and find the position that works. Use those pillows to support you there. And then easing with the breath. So really allowing your body to just be in this pose. Not asking or expecting anything from it, just allowing it to be, accepting where it is. Definitely noticing how one side feels compared to the other. So I can definitely feel this in my right side. And those thoughts will come in, perhaps the thoughts that we need to come out, or how many more breaths here. There. That's the time when we really need to bring it back to the breath, back to not doing anything and just being. A few more breaths here. And then slowly again on your inhale, just gently making your way back up. Move those cushions out of the way. Maybe curl that back toe under, just bring that right knee back. And just stretch through that right leg. So if you're lying on your back, you can send the legs long. Taking a full stretch. And then we're going to come to a seated position. So just sending the legs to one way and then coming into cross-legged. So decide if you need some height here, take some height, put a cushion underneath your hips, that's fine, you can be there. And then just arrive here, so take a moment. Okay, so that transition over, notice the sensations in the body. I can definitely feel that in my right leg. And pigeon pose is a really nice one to do before you go to bed, especially at the end of the day if you've been on your feet and things. It's a real calming pose for the nervous system. If you're finding hard to shut off, it's a really nice pose to come to. Okay, into a bit of movement here now. So we're simply going to inhale, just open up through the chest, allow the hands to draw back. So we've done this many times, just think of cat and cow here. Exhale, rounding through, chin to chest, navel draws back. Getting that spinal movement. Inhale again. Exhale back. Just keep going through. Keep that movement through the spine. And actually, if we do have any injuries with our knees or wrists and things, this is a really nice way to invite yoga in to the body. Sometimes we feel that we can't practice, but actually, if you think cat and cow here, you can start to do this in a bit more of a restorative way. You can do this seated in a chair, with your feet on the ground. So there's lots of ways to invite this movement. Last time, inhale, open up through the chest. Exhale, tuck the chin in, rounding through. Inhale, coming back to that neutral position. On your next inhale, slowly reaching your arms up above your head. So take that length. And then turn to look over towards your left knee. And I want you to fold over that left leg. Okay, so you're coming down here. Just like we did in our extended child's pose, I want you to reach with that right hand. So you're really starting to reach, shifting the hips back towards the right side and then dropping the head in this space. Getting this stretch all the way down the right side of the arm, all the way down the right side of the body into the hips. So allowing that right hip to still be rooted, not coming up out of our groundedness here. And just take a moment to breathe. You can take a little bit of a movement with the neck, anything that still feels good in your body. Take one more breath here. Come up slightly so that your right hand is still crossed over. And I want you to inhale, just take the left hand out to the side. So maybe just at shoulder height, doesn't have to come all the way up. Pause here. Drop the right shoulder away from the ear. So it's almost like this elbow is dropping down. Take another breath. Breathe here. Get some movement in the neck. Exhale, left hand comes down, replaces the right. Inhale, just gently open the right arm up to the right side. And again, careful with this neck. Sometimes we feel like we have to really look at this hand, but actually maybe gazing out towards the right side or in the direction of the right knee just allows you to have a bit of space in that neck and relax through your shoulders. Exhale, bring right hand down to the floor. Slide the hands away a little bit if you can. Coming into a seated forward fold again. Take a breath here. Inhale, slowly rolling up. Crossing the legs the other way. So just taking a switch here with the legs. And again, if one leg feels better than the other and you're more comfortable how you were, then go back to that position. Relax through the shoulders. Inhale, slowly peel the arms up above the head. Really reach, turn your body towards the right knee. Exhale, start to fold over. Trying to keep the hips rooted. So that means the hands aren't necessarily going to come that far out, and then you're going to reach with your left hand and maybe bring your left hand on top of the right and taking a stretch here. Breathing deep. Allowing the head to relax. Bringing the left hand to the ground. Come up slightly. Inhale, take the right arm up, so not too far this side. It's almost like you're just engaging these shoulders. Breathe into this space. Exhale, right hand comes down. Inhale, take the left arm up. So it's like you're on a diagonal here with the right arm. You can even turn your head back down towards the right shoulder, just so you can start to get a stretch in the left side of the neck. Take a breath here. Inhale, coming back through center. Bring the hands back out in front, slide them away a little bit or as far as you can go. And then just drop the head. Take a breath. It really doesn't matter if you're high up here on fingertips. Breathe into the length of the body. Inhale, slowly rolling up. From here, sending your feet out, which should feel quite nice. Okay, I'm going to turn onto the side. So sending the feet out in front of you. And then just crossing the left foot. You can keep it on the same side, but maybe crossing that left foot over to the right side of the right leg. So on the outside of the right leg, sorry. Bring that right arm around that left knee. And just gently twisting here. So we're going to hold this also for 5 breaths. So just arrive here. And as always, with that inhale, can you create a bit of length and space? So you can even imagine the space between each of your vertebrae just having a bit more length there, growing a little taller. And with the exhales, maybe twisting a little bit further, maybe finding places that can soften. And it could literally be the hand that's crossed over. I noticed that I actually quite grip that hand and just allow it to be loose. Close your eyes and breathe. You really focus on the tummy area, the abdominals into this twist. So good for the digestive system, but also for the immune system, giving everything a bit of a boost. And we could all certainly do with that at the moment. So taking another breath. Releasing the hands and then just gently bringing your both hands over towards the right side like you're going to lift yourself up. I'll just show you on this side a moment. So like you're going to lift yourself up, like push away, but you're not. You're just going to come over and have a gentle fold. So it's the opposite leg. You're just going to fold here. Take a breath. Inhale, slowly coming back up. Switching the legs. So now the right foot comes in and crosses over. Sitting up nice and tall. Reach with that left hand. Bring it around so that you can almost hug this right knee into that left elbow crease. And then the right hand comes behind you. Again, if you want to change the position of that left arm, you can bring it on the inside of the knee and come here. It's your choice. Come back to the breath. Soften through the face and the shoulders. Breathing into this pose. On your next exhale, just gently coming back, bringing your hands over towards the left hip. Hands come down, just lean over, slightly drop the chin. Allow the shoulders to soften. And then slowly rolling back up. From here, keeping the legs out in front of you. Again, if you have your pillows and blankets, you can bend your knees and you can start to sort of pad out the top of your thighs and just anchor down through your heels. So I've got my knees bent here. You can have them out straight if you want to, but actually I'm going to take more of a restorative pose today. So just allow those cushions to almost sort of nestle into your body, towards your tummy, and you can add more if you need to. Instead of sort of really reaching here, we're just going to soften over. Maybe the hands can come to the feet, maybe they just rest on the shins and you can cross the hands over. And you can drop your head down. You can drop your forehead down as long as you're not going to suffocate. And I can't speak when my head is here. So you can just gently bring one ear and then maybe swap to the other side in a moment. So decide. Sometimes once you arrive in this pose, just release the feet off slightly. Maybe they can grow a bit longer. And find the breath. So this is great for the hamstrings, the back of the legs. Excuse me. Just allowing the body to soften. And sometimes when we have problems with our lower back, it can be to do with the tightness in the back of the legs. So it's all connected, and actually the hamstring muscles start to insert further up and in than we thought. Quite often we visualize like the muscles having sort of almost like cut-off points that then comes into the pelvis and the hips. But actually it's all integrated. So if your hamstrings are tight, it could be to do with your back, your hips, your calves. If your back's tight, it can be to do with your shoulders, your hamstrings. So it's that full body connection. Take a few more breaths here in silence, and if you haven't already, just switch your head to the other side if you're on one side, depending on how bent over you are. And then from here, very slowly, just start to peel yourself up. Notice how the back feels. So sometimes it can feel a little bit niggly, so just notice how that is. And we're going to come down onto our backs. And straight away, hopefully still got your pillows by your side. You can just have your back on the floor. Maybe this is fine for you, but feel free to bring these pillows underneath the sacrum if you want to. Just have a bit of height. So we're coming into bridge pose. If you want to, you can just add more pillows, and already my hips are lifted. So this is a supported bridge. I didn't bring my blocks in with me just because not everybody has blocks. So I wanted to show you a way that you could do it without. So you can sort of push these up a little bit and just really have that support in the sacrum. And then just arrive here. Hands can be rested by your side or gently on your hips. Maybe if you want to take the hips higher, you can just tilt the pelvis up. So you don't even really have to lift those hips, especially if you're on some cushions, on some blankets. And if the feet the legs aren't relaxed, and you can walk the feet out a little bit wider and allow the knees to drop in. But again, just decide. So it's different for everybody, it's different for our hips. So just take a few breaths here. In a moment, We're going to come to my favourite restorative pose. So just take a few breaths here. Really feel that breath entering and exiting the body. For me, because I love being by the sea, that having a visual of the waves rolling in, rolling out is really calming for me. Maybe not for you, so you could visualize something else. Maybe it's something inflating and deflating. Maybe it's a feather blowing in the wind that's rising and falling. Just allowing yourself to connect to your rhythm. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Acceptance. Everything is just how it should be right now. You've got cushions underneath you. If you have two, then take one in each hand so you have one either side of you. Just gently lifting the hips, taking the cushions out, and from here just bring the knees in towards your chest. Just hug them in for a moment. You can rock from side to side. If you want to take some circles, you can. And then you're simply just going to bring your feet back to the floor. We're coming into Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclined cobbler's pose. It's got lots of names. Reclined round angle pose. But allow your feet, soles of the feet to come together. Bring in your heels as close as you can towards your pelvis so they're comfortable. And then bring your cushions underneath your thighs. So you can actually roll the cushions up, just allowing your legs to really rest here. So they're supporting your knees so that your legs almost can just relax. So sometimes in this cobbler's pose we feel that we're having to hold the legs here and they can start to ache in the inner thighs, but having that support, you should be able to just allow the legs to relax, allow the body to relax. And again, we are going to stay here quite a few breaths before we come down to our Shavasana. So your hands can be resting on your hips, maybe by your side, palms facing up. Hands on your belly, one on your heart. It's entirely up to you. Just find your position, chin gently tucked, and arrive in this pose. If you are getting a little bit chilly at all, feel free to put a blanket on you. For me, this pose is just, that's the best. It just feels so supported with the pillows. It's quite a vulnerable pose. Sometimes lots of emotions can come up, especially the longer that you're in this pose. Whatever you feel, those emotions that arise, they're all perfectly normal, natural. Just allow yourself to go with it. This is a pose that I forgot how much I loved, but quite a few years ago I remember doing this pose, and all of a sudden just tears gently started trickling down my side of my face. And it's funny because when you're lying like this, they just drop down almost into your ears, and I remember just sort of smiling to myself, not really knowing why I was crying, but there was obviously a reason. We don't always have to have the answers, we just have to feel it, embrace it, and go with it. So just taking 3 more conscious breaths here. With each exhale, I want you to say to yourself, maybe in your mind, maybe out loud, I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Gently moving the pillows, maybe placing one under the knees, maybe one underneath the head. And feel free, if you've got a blanket now, this is the time to bring it on top of your body to come into your Shavasana. I'm going to come up into a seated position just so I don't fall asleep. But relax yourself down. Feel supported by the earth. By what's around you, the universe, people in your life, that support, connection. Me, yourself, the whole yoga community, not just hands to heart, but all over the world. that connection that we have, that support that we have. And as you lie here, feeling that support within the whole of your body, that support in your back, literally the earth has your back. And I want you to just be here. So nothing to do. Mind and body. Just allow yourself to be here with your breath. And we'll be here for a good 5 minutes. So close your eyes and settle in. And at the end of the practice, I will finish by saying Namaste. And then I will turn the video off so you can stay there for longer if you want to. If you need. Namaste.